What's going on, guys? We are going to make a reggaeton beat using Splice samples as well as Logic Pro X. So let's hop into it. All right, so we are in Logic Pro. Let's do first thing first. We're going to change this tempo to, let's say, 102 and just make a 4-bar loop right here. Now, if you don't know, Logic Pro has some insane loops that are built into their library. So all you got to do is just search for reggaeton. And let's do a limiter here first, adaptive limiter. So we're not cranking up everyone's headphones to the max. We're just going to do a ceiling at negative 0.5. And honestly, there are a lot of sounds here. So let's just do everything by tempo and then find a drum loop right here. So let's see what these percussion sounds are like. All right, so let's just bring that in. It's asking us if we want to change the tempo. It's 102, 100. So let's just change the tempo right here and let's listen to this. All right, that's pretty cool. So what we can also do is, because the snare and the percussions are there, let's just bring them all in here on separate tracks and we'll just mute them for now, create new tracks. And maybe perhaps we'll use part of it as intro and fills and things like that. So let's minimize that and let's just see what the percussion and the snare sound like. We also want to use Splice. So what I'm going to do is just load up Splice Bridge. Now, if you don't know what Splice Bridge is, I'm going to leave a video in the cards right here so you can figure out what Splice Bridge is. It basically connects it to the Splice interface and you can pretty much play samples in key and the same tempo, which is pretty cool. So now right now our tempo is at 100. We don't really have a solid key of the song yet. So let's just go and audition some samples out of this OV on the drums pack from Splice. Let's just go and look for something that's more melodic. Okay, now what's cool is you can change the key right here. Right now it looks like it's in G right now, and you could easily just drag this in, but if the tempo was different, it wouldn't work. So let's actually audition this first. It's great, but I want something more hype, so let's listen to everything else. Okay, I really like that, so let's audition that with our drum. So in order to not change the tempo, what we're going to do is click right here and bring it in. So it's going to bring a changed tempo version that's going to fit into our project right here. You can see originally it was 133. Now the key does not change unless you change it from here. We're going to work in C# minor. So let's go ahead and audition this. Okay, I don't like the latter part of it, so I'm just going to select and delete. All right, pretty cool. Now I want to find another sample. So I'm going to go for a flute sample. And now I know that it's in C# minor. Let's just see if there is a C# minor. Again, I've used this loop before, so let's see what it sounds like. All right, so this sample definitely fits in. So what I'm going to do again, copy the modified sample into Logic Pro right here. So now let's mute this. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to bump up the gain a little bit and we're going to actually make a sampler track out of this. So what we're going to do is click on that and go to original right here. And we're going to mute this, and what it's going to do is it's going to break the sample into different slices. So now we can play this across our keyboard. All right, so let's go and try to find a pattern that we like. So again, you can see that everything right now is basically sample based. Okay, so let's play this. All right, so now that's a pattern that we just made right here. Now, another cool thing is, let's go and duplicate this pattern so we don't interrupt the original one. You can select all of this and you can go to filter, and then you can go to MIDI transform and you can randomize the pitch of this. So let's go random pitch. And what we're going to do is just choose our C1 to, let's say it's C5, right? So here we go, select and operate. So it's going to make a random pattern right there. All right, and what you can also do is make another duplicate, and let's do the same thing. All right, so now that you have that, what you can do is let's put that in the intro and see if it actually goes with the sample that we picked earlier from Splice. So actually it doesn't go with the sample that we picked earlier. That's cool. I like to move those things up at the top if I'm not going to use them. Now, I do like that pattern, but I want to make a bit of mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that and just put that on a drum designer. So now the pattern is across multiple different pads and we can play it on our keyboard. So what we can do is make our own pattern. So let's go and delete this. We're going to make a pattern and start making our own drum pattern. And again, you can always go ahead and go to the original pattern. All right, so what I like doing is I like bouncing this, and then one of my favorite plugin is halftime. So let's go and bring up halftime. And once we bring up halftime, what we can do is all right, so the next thing we're going to do is let's find a sub sound. All right, let's go and look for an 808, and then perhaps we'll do a one shot as well. All right, so I like this sound. What I'm going to do is go ahead and bring it over, and then again go to Logic Pro and just go optimize for this sound. So we'll bring the 808 in and see how it goes with the beat. All right, so let's go and quantize that. And what I like doing is I like putting velocity processor and make sure the velocity is at 100% or 127. All right, so now we're missing some pads or some background backing layer. What I'm going to do is just search for one of my favorite, which is the blue carpet right here. All right, so let's go ahead and bring that up front, and we're going to look at the intro. Now we need some reverb on this right here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go to reverb, just go to space designer and mess around with some reverb. Now that we have somewhat of an idea, what I really want to do is change some of the drums. So I'm just going to open up my drum machine designer and I'm going to go to my samples right here in my Splice and literally just search for drums, one shots, and then let's see if we can replace some of that. So let's add some percussion now. Again, I'm going to go right here and just go to out original. And now I have this percussion sound. Let's make it shorter. All right, I just like that click. So let's try to work that click in. Let's use a pattern region. Alright, I like that. Now, you guys remember we had these percussion loops earlier too. Let's bring them in and see how they sound. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm really going to just chop this and bring it in and out as and when I feel like I want them in there. So I really want them coming in just at the beginning like this. Alright, right there. So I'm going to remove. Again, gonna do the same thing, but just change it up just a little bit so not all of it is coming in. Again, same thing right here. Just gonna take out some parts of it and leave some parts of it in and see how this sounds. Alright, what I'm going to do is hit J and just make that into its own loop. Alright, so now it's time for arrangement. So what you're going to do is now we have this intro right here. Alright, so let's search for actually a vocal right here. We're going to do all and see if there's a vocal loop. Okay, I like that. So what I'm going to do is actually enable the splice bridge right here. And then what I'm going to do. Alright, so let's bring that into Logic and see what it sounds like. Dame un poquito, quédate conmigo. Si me quieres, dime. I can take this feeling, oh. Dame un poquito, quédate conmigo. Si me quieres, dime. I can take this feeling, oh. Dame un poquito, quédate conmigo. Si me quieres, dime. I can take this feeling, oh. Alright, so that sounds pretty good. Now you have a good idea, good blueprint on how you might want to arrange this. What I feel like it's missing is some more hi-hats during this. So what I'm going to do is literally just search for some more hats right here. I'm going to search for loops. I'm going to get rid of the scale right here and see what these loops sound like. Again, open up Splice Bridge. Not sure why it keeps disconnecting. It shouldn't be doing that. All right, so let's bring this in. It's right in tempo with ours. So let's go and zoom in and see what this sounds like. All right, so I think it's got too much triplets going on. Okay, I do like that. Now, because the tempo is different, we want to choose this right here. So let's go ahead and... Alright, so I'm only going to use really just the first part right here and loop that because I like the variation. So I really just like the first part of this. Alright, so pretty much if you want, you can use this and then layer it up with another vocal. But again, for an idea, I think this is good. So you got... Alright, so now you got that, and then let's go ahead and let's work onto the verse right here so we can get a little bit of arrangement going on. Let's do some emptiness in the drums right here. So again, it's only just... All right, perfect. What we're going to do here is, again, just look for some crash or cymbals if they are there. Okay, doesn't look like that's there. No cymbal samples in here. Okay. All right, I like that. So I'm just going to bring that in here so we have a little bit. All right, we can also look for risers right here. All right, that's pretty good. So let's bring that in here. Now, what you want to be careful is sometimes it pretty much wraps it to loop in Logic Pro when you bring in some samples. I don't like that because sometimes it screws up what the sample sounds like. So as you can see, if you're working with samples, a lot of it is trial and error. We started with something and we are ending up at something completely different. Again, we have one more loop. Let's go ahead and try and put that in here to see what that sounds like. So that was a tutorial on how to use samples from Splice and make a sample-based reggaeton beat in Logic Pro X. If you guys have any questions, as usual, leave them in the comments. If you want to learn about anything else, make sure to leave that in the comment as well. And if you like the content, make sure to share it with a producer. Also hit that like and subscribe button if you want to learn more. I'll see you at the next one.